Colleagues, it's been 2 weeks off the mic, but we are here, and to our viewers, we are back fully loaded and ready to jump into the biggest stories that affect sport. So let's get into it. First things first, we want to talk about AFCON. Yeah. So the final Uganda Cranes team has settled for Morocco for the AFCON 2025. And I want to say that we are really excited to see this. We are looking forward to it, and maybe also to look at this moment, because it's always exciting for us. I mean, new choices, new faces, bold choices. And maybe one big question that we always ask ourselves is this the squad that is going to shock Africa? And maybe Mark, I want us to look into what do you think of the final picks when it comes to this team? And are there any surprises that we should be keeping our eye on to? Yes, maybe I can begin with Mark Namanya.
Yeah, the squad which has gone to Morocco has actually arrived in Casablanca safely. Uganda will be based in Rabat. We have 2 games in Rabat, and then our final game will be in Fez, which is just 2 hours away from Rabat. If you've been following the national team, they're not any big surprises. Those are the players we always felt that the coach, Paul Put, would pick. I thought that the addition of James Bogero was a curious one. I know the squad will be trimmed because that's a team of 30 which has traveled to Morocco. It will be trimmed to 28. You're allowed to actually use 28 players, Mark, at AFCON, although a CAF would be taking care of 23. So the other 5 would be at the cost of the team and the federation which is competing. In this case, that would be FUFA. I just think we're putting so much pressure on that kid. If he was competing at the Under-17 World Cup and he did well, the only match where he didn't play, we were knocked out. Why would you take him to AFCON? I mean, he's jumped so many phases and you're putting so much burden of expectation on a kid who is still a teenager. So he's not even of voting age. And I hope that he doesn't make the final squad for the tournament, because you don't want to kill his trajectory when he's still a teen. However, I think for the rest of the guys, I think more or less that's the kind of team that we expected would be competing at AFCON for the Uganda Cranes. Again, in fact, for me, more than the team, Mark, my interest is not so much in who has been picked by Put and who hasn't been picked. By the way, Sam Simba is not part of the team. Okay. We shall discuss Simba's omission in detail. But I just want to be sure that FUFA have actually learned the lessons of Gabon and Cairo, Egypt, Uganda's last 2 AFCONs, where there was player dissent. It was there in Gabon because I was there. And it happened again in Cairo. In Cairo. And our campaign was actually affected by that, because Senegal were genuinely scared of Uganda Cranes going into that second round game against us. I went to the Arab Contractors Training Facility in Cairo when we were waiting for Uganda Cranes to come and train, and that's when we learned that the players had laid down their tools and they're not going to compete to take part in the training session. So how I want to be sure, and some of the people who are in both camps are actually part of this team. So I do not know if I want to believe that FUFA have addressed the issues, the code of conduct, and player behavior and player discontent and bonus issues, because if we fail to learn from those 2 episodes, then it will be very, very, very unfortunate and unacceptable.
Yeah, because the thing is, in FUFA's case, they've had continuity. So it's the same people who were in charge of FUFA then, who still are. And ideally, they should know that this is something that has plagued African football so badly. And it rears its ugly head at the worst times. There have been so many infamous allowance-related mutinies in African football. In African football camps at the wrong time. Of course, the biggest, the most frequent are usually Nigerian. But of course, the Nigerians will make noise. If they're not paid and all that.
They're still making noise, by the way, over unpaid wages, even after failing to go for the World Cup.
Yes, they'll lay down their tools and all. And the bigger guys who play for the big clubs, who basically the Nigerian FA can't hurt in any way, raise their voices on behalf of the others who might be victimized. So they always do this, and I've seen them do it in basketball as well. But
and Mark, the most infamous episode of this player discontent and bonus rose was in Brazil 2014, and I was privileged to be there as well, where Ghana players put their tools down, and then a plane from Accra carrying money had to fly to Brazil for Ghana to play. And that team, by the way, there's a Ghanaian told me, that team, we don't even care if it crashes because they disgraced the Ghanaian flag. So we've had so many episodes of that nature in African football.
Hopefully that doesn't happen because it will be terrible. This right now the current Cranes squad does not seem to have the characters, because for a mutiny like that you need there's got to be some strong characters, some players who will stand in there and say no. Right now you see there's a lot of conformity maybe. I don't know much about the off-field conduct of some of the imports, the new guys we have in there, and if they would want to rock the boat. But never mind, I'll go back to the squad a little bit. Mark has talked about James Bogere. Maybe I might have a bit of a varying view there. Mark thinks the boy should not be put under pressure to make the final cut and get in there and perhaps be crushed by the burden of expectation in an environment like that. But I do not think, if at all, FUFA have included him now, is that they've done that to actually get him into there and then start ahead of Stephen Mukwala and Uchek Payas.
Obviously not.
Not there. So, and he would even be behind Ivan Ibisiwe in the pecking order if both of them made the cut. I wonder if they will. It is to establish continuity. I'm thinking for them, but I'm thinking that from experience, I'm thinking this is probably what they're going to do. We've seen world teams on the global stage do this with youngsters.
Yes.
Both to promote that talent, to keep it focused on the ultimate goal, and also to inspire the ones who are coming with them or after them. Argentina included Maradona, I think, in the 1978 squad, didn't they?
They did, but Cesar Luis Menotti dropped him.
Yes, but they wanted to include him,
Yes.
Brazil included Ronaldo da Lima in the 94 one, didn't it? The one where Romario and Bebeto were the starting partnership, but Ronaldo was the next best thing.
Yeah.
And he would soon take over, as you saw in France 98 and 2002 when he led Brazil to the World Cup. But they brought him into the 94 one, Ronaldo da Lima, not necessarily because he was going to play ahead of Romario and Bebeto, but to establish that continuity. FIFA have, I'm told, what they call project players. I think it's the same. The Bogere case is the same as Shafiq Nana Kwikiriza, even Torach, who's not been Torach, some of these kids who are singled out as coming from the underage competitions, who they wanted to prop up and continue to promote in the way of continuity. But we'll see. He might not make the final cut. There's a few guys. I think the final squad is supposed to be 28 and they have 30. If they're dropping only 2, I have some candidates.
May be part of it.
Yeah, I have some candidates. I think they will.
Yes.
Mark, though, I want to mention some of the people who have been omitted, and feel for them, because of some of the choices have been curious for me. First, as far as the goalkeepers are concerned, the 3 I thought would be the ones anyway. Salim Magola and Dennis Onyango and Nafian Alionzi. The inclusion of Charles Lukwago is the one which has shocked me a bit. The KCCA goalkeeper. I don't know if he will make the final squad, but he hasn't been a feature of the Cranes squad of the last 6 months, which has actually stood out. And even in the last friendlies, they actually took different guys. I mean, like Dennis Chigund, for example, from Vipers, and who actually played in the games against Morocco, when we played against Morocco and Chad. So I wonder why how Lukwago has actually made it there. I'm sure that even the KCC hierarchy are a bit shocked by that choice. There's a few other guys who might have had a shout, you think. But never mind. He's only even if he made the squad, he would only be a 4th choice. I don't think he would end up in goal in 3 group games. But at the back, in that defense mark is where I have some guys I'm surprised by. Poor Herbert Achai, I feel for him. He played very well at the Chan, and he has been deputy for Aziz Kayondo. for quite a bit now, for a few months now. Isaac Mulemi actually didn't feature in the last Cranes qualifiers for the World Cup, from the ones we played here against Mozambique and Somalia to the ones we played away against Botswana and Algeria. He wasn't even part of the squad. I don't know if he was injured at his Czech team, Zivkov, but he's back in there. He's a senior player, and Puachai drops out.
I think Put has gone for experience.
Experience, yeah. Then I see that at right back, you have Toby Sibik, who is now the right back now. But I don't see the backups. I mean, Gavin Chizuto, not part of the squad, perhaps not too surprisingly. Elvis Momono, poor guy. This guy started the campaign playing for the Cranes. He's been out of favor lately. Perhaps because there's cover in the squad from Kenneth Semakula, who's named as a fullback there, but rather as a midfielder.
He's a utility player.
Yeah, but for Elio Caprodosi and Jordan Obita, who are the mainstays in
no surprises now, there.
They've got the backup of Hilary Mokondane and Torach, the Vipers guys, and then Timothy Awani. The Villa guy, David O'War, is part of the squad. I don't know if he'll make the final cut. If he does, congratulations to him. But he's the one I think is one of the fall guys. I'd rather the vulnerable ones. If they're going to cut, then you come to that midfield mark. You've got Khalid Aucho and Kenneth Samakula. We know that's the partnership Put prefers in the double pivot. So he's brought Bobosi Biaruhanga to help them. And he has brought back Ronald Sechiganda, who used to be a favorite of his, but had also dropped out. The man was at APR now. The guys who have dropped out, Joel Seronjoji and Enoch Sebagala, poor guys, but I didn't think maybe they'll make the cut. The one who surprises me among the guys who've been dropped from the middle, because the fourth one, the other backup is Al Hassan Baba, who has only just squeezed into the Cranes team as the latest entrant, actually, from the foreign legion, if you like. He plays his football in Romania. But poor Karim Watambala. Watambala is the one I feel for.
I know.
Actually, for me, that was the most curious omission.
The one of Watambala.
One of Watambala.
Yeah, I find that a bit curious that poor Watambala has missed out. I think he's been a good servant, played well at Chan, and he has actually been as mainstay of the senior Cranes as well.
And he offers a lot more than some of the names which have been put ahead of him.
Then you go for that third midfield slot, if you like, of the triangle. We know it's Alan Okello who starts there. Travis Mutiaba now at CS Sfaxien in Tunisia. He's back up. But I look at the forwards. Well, I've talked about Mokwala, who probably will be on starting number 9. Ikpeazu Uche, who in the last 2 friendlies played himself into contention, is somebody who will be back up. Mato and Semugabi have been the starters who start with Mokwala on either side. But now Semugabi has competition from Melvin Lorenzen from the 2 friendlies he played against. That was Chad and Morocco, right?
Yeah.
I think he's played himself into contention for a starting place. He plays his football in Southeast Asia. And Semugabi might have competition there. The backup is from Dennis Omedi. He's back, like Sechiganda is back into contention after not being really involved with the Cranes in the last qualifiers. I mean, as a proper choice. And then there's Shafiq Nanakwekiriza. I think that is a project kid. I mean, making the cut for me is a surprise on his side. On the other side, Mato's side, the backup comes from Regan Mpande of AC Villa. But again, there's a few, I mean, perhaps, I don't know what happened to Jonathan.
Is that Regan Mpande or Joseph Mpande?
It's Regan Mpande, actually. It looks like Joseph Mpande has not made that 30.
The thing
Regan Mpande of Villa, not Joseph Mpande plays in Southeast Asia as well, in Vietnam.
Yes. The thing about tournament football, and I know all coaches in Morocco, even at the World Cup, the things that they factor into when they are sitting down and making their minds on who to take and who not to take. Because it's a tournament, typically of how many, 6-7 games if you reach the final, you're going to think
7
through,
games if you've done the
If you're a utility player, you have an advantage over someone who can only play 1 or 2 positions. And that is why, I mean, a guy like Timothy Awani, because Awani is comfortable playing in central defense and playing as a fullback. A guy like Semakula can play in midfield, can play in a fullback position. So because you need all these options. You can get injuries, you can get suspensions, many things happen. And once you've made the final team, you just have to work with the players who are who are at your disposal. And I think that if you've been following Paul Putmark, if you've watched the games which he's managed as Queen's manager in the last couple of seasons, the fact of the matter, apart from Isaac Melemeo, who I haven't seen him select in his time, I don't think there are any major omissions, because even the Chan squad was, while he had a peripheral hand, it was mostly a Molly Newcastle side, But we know that, he's a fan of Aucho, he's a fan of Semakula.
Semakula, yes, yeah.
We know that he's a fan of the import, Cibic, Obita, Capradosi. We know that he loves Alan Okello, he loves Travis Mutiaba. So I don't think there's been any big omissions.
No, yeah, the one who is the Mole player there is Regan Pandey.
Only Regan Pandey, yes.
Regan Pandey is somebody that Mole loves quite a bit.
Yes, and Mumza, who was with Mole in Chan, right now he'll be assisting him in AFCON. So probably he must have had a hand in Pandey's inclusion in the team.
Yeah, most likely, if there's among the guys to drop out, there's only two, and I understand there's only two. But the guys who are playing in the Uganda Premier League are the ones who I find vulnerable to that Chop Shafiq, Nana Kwikiriza, Ivan Misidwe, and James Bogere from Masaka Sunshine, as well as David Owori at the back for Villa.
Certainly not Alan Okello.
No, Alan Okello is the one domestic best player who should start on merit.
Yeah.
However, Mark, going back to that issue of Sam Simbwa, that you mentioned.
In detail.
Yeah, I find it a bit unfortunate that one of the things, of course, Simba is so outspoken as a person, but also a very strong character who is his own man. I don't think he takes very kindly to being an assistant. Ideally, he wants to be in charge. The thing, though, is that you feel that it's a missed opportunity for him going to putting this on his CV.
It is, and
going to the AFCON.
He was disappointed.
With the Cranes,
he was disappointed, and it was very clear from the tone, from the things he said, because he said that even if my contract had run out, there are some people who are on the team whose contracts are expired, but they've gone to.
They've still gone to
Morocco.
Yeah,
I know that from the onset, Mark. First and foremost, when Simba was approached to become an assistant of Paul Put, I think from where I stand, I think FIFA wanted to beat KCC to Simba's signature, because KCC at the time had no coach and they were fighting for Simba.
Yeah.
So they acted very, very fast. It was mostly out of desperation and not so much necessity.
Was that post Mike Mutebi or post Abdallah?
No, post Mike. Post Abdallah.
Yeah, yes.
Then I gather that from the first engagement involving, so the first time Cranes played in the Port Simba era was, I think, there must have been a tournament in Morocco, a friendly or competitive game in Morocco. And apparently Port gave Simba some instructions, which Simba didn't execute. When the team was going out for the training session, he wanted a certain drill, Put asked for X and Simba was doing Y. And I think from then on, they never quite had the sort of chemistry that you want your main coach and the assistant to have. So it's not been the best of relationships.
That's an unfortunate thing, because I remember, Mark, I was talking about this before Put's contract was renewed.
Yeah.
Because there were all sorts of questions as to whether it would be. Not because FIFA didn't want to, but largely because apparently there were other takers for Put at the time, including Cameroon, before they went into the World Cup playoffs, which they lost to DR Congo.
Yeah.
Then of course there was always that question: bigger team coming around with more money, and got an opportunity to shine at that stage. I mean, he could have gone to Cameroon and even taken them to the playoffs and the World Cup. That was a bigger opportunity than this one. But I thought at the time that if he's not going to renew, which I hoped wouldn't happen, then that for continuity's sake going into this AFCON, this late, and also with knowing in mind that you're preparing for AFCON 2027, which you're going to host, I'd have thought that Simo would have been the man to take charge. But it looks like, of course, we know that with FIFA, one of the things they want is obedience. They want you to be able to conform and all. And Simba is a sort of rebel.
Yeah, he is.
Simba actually
is a rebel.
He's a rebel. So it was always not going to work, unfortunately.
I mean, we've previously seen him make some very disparaging remarks about the former president Moses Magogo. So I was actually shocked
when he was
appointed to be the deputy of
Port. Yeah, but in that sense, by the way, there's one or two things I give Magogo credit for is the fact that where you expect him to be vindictive, he's actually then turned around and not taken things personal. I don't know if it's from reflection after a long period of time, because ideally as a human you get angry and everything. But that choice of Simba and even the return of Salim Magola and Dennis Onyango to the national team squad suggests that sometimes Magogo then ultimately has a change of heart and lets things be, other than be vindictive against individuals, because these are guys who easily would not have been part of that setup, considering how their relationship with Magogo had broken down in the first place. But Muhumuza coming in, Muhumuza took the team to Qatar, the under-20 team, which did so well, created history by getting into the round of 16. And therein is a bit of continuity as well. You hope, because then he has also taken James Bokere, you hope that then when Muhumuza comes back...
Muhumuza was with Senyondo in Qatar, Mark.
With Senyondo. Senyondo was in charge, actually, but Muhumuza was there. But Muhumuza, I think, it looks like somebody who actually conforms.
Obviously.
He's the obedient servant who Fufa would rush instructions through and not have any questions being asked. But then the new setup with them is that they have Laria Kingston, the Ghanaian, in charge of virtually all the underage
the junior teams.
It's not a bad idea under the circumstances to have somebody who will perhaps come back and work with the juniors to be on that squad, because continuity, it establishes continuity. And for Ugandan football right now, it is so important because, like I said, in 2 years, we actually host this tournament.
And I'm happy, Mark, that the team is in Morocco right now. They're going to acclimatize to the weather, the food, and just their surroundings. And our first game is on 23rd, Mark.
23rd.
Just 2 days, 23rd December, just 2 days before Christmas. It's a must-win game. I think we're playing Tunisia.
So they have a couple of weeks in camp. Before they play their first game.
Before they play their first game. Our second game is, I think, on 27th against Tanzania, and then the final group game is against Nigeria. On December 30th. The first two games are in Rabat, then the last game against Nigeria is in Fez.
But they've lined up 2 friendly matches actually before the kick-off of the tournament.
Yes, and you hope that those 2 friendlies go according to plan. There are no major injuries, and because we've seen injuries happen.
They do freak injuries on the training ground. After you've survived all your league football and the qualifying campaign and all, you can get a freak injury in the camp. But even that considered, like I've said on previous episodes here, I do not recall a Cranes team going into a major tournament as prepared as this one has been by circumstances. This team has been prepared by the circumstances of the amount of competitive football they've had just in 2025.
Yes.
In this 1 year, and the amount of competitive football they had, other Cranes teams have not managed before major tournaments. So there absolutely should be no excuses apart from the fact that, and then they've got the coach continuing as well. Apart from the fact that we are in a very tough group, everything else should be in place. And they should give themselves an opportunity of coming out of that group and going into the knockout phases by starting strongly against Tunisia. Tunisia might take us a bit for granted. One, they qualified with a 100% record. They did not concede a goal, they did not drop a point in going into AFCON. Yeah, is it? No, into the World Cup. Into the World Cup, yeah. So, I mean, AFCON is perhaps they even...
But I mean, Tunisia is a formidable team.
And two,
former winners of this trophy.
We just don't have any history against them. They've beaten us every single time we've faced them, so why should they worry? So
they'll come with this mindset of it's just
the game in which
business as
you
usual.
You go in there and make a statement.
One of the most clinical performances I've seen by an away team when Ugandan story was the 99 mark when Tunisia beat us 2-0, just 2-0 at Nachivu, but the scoreline... I mean,
it flattered to deceive. The performance was a comprehensive humiliation.
It was a comprehensive humiliation. Tunisia were
I remember Gapsi.
Hassan Gapsi, Kais Godbane, Adel Selimi,
Trabelsi.
Hatem Trabelsi.
I remember that team. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, Mark and Mark. That was now the current updates when it comes to AFCON.